We do hope that you can come.
You could come.
You can come.
We do hope that you can come to sharing all the joy.
This review is brought to you by Netflix. 2009's Batman Arkham Asylum was a revelation. It was a good superhero game that was also a really good game. 2011's Batman Arkham City was a significant leap in ambition by bringing the game to a massive open-world setting, but I found it a little discombobulated with its myriad side quests and collectibles, and a story that awkwardly bootstrapped characters and settings. Arkham Origins is daring in its own way by being a game from a new studio, Warner Bros. Montreal, and being a prequel, something that has not favored many games this year. But the solid gameplay foundation from the first two titles helps mitigate its challenges while simultaneously highlighting its limitations. There's nothing so frustrating as having to beat someone up because you can't find the one you really want to beat up.
Who wants to show me where the Penguin is?
And that is Batman Arkham Origins in a nutshell. Batman Arkham Origins takes us back to 2 years after the Caped Crusader arrives on the scene in Gotham, and whose reputation is still something of a myth and not taken seriously by Captain Gordon and his ilk. The criminal underworld, on the other hand, is all too aware of his extra-legal crime-fighting antics, in particular Black Mask, who stages a daring prison break from Blackgate and puts a $50 million bounty on Batman's head, which draws the interest of 8 assassins, including Bane and Deathstroke. What follows is by far the best writing to date in a Batman game. Taut, focused, and with a dark edge, Origins feels the most like a comic book from Scott Snyder, and even dabbles in some of the psychosexual underpinnings of the character explored by Alan Moore and Frank Miller. Troy Baker's controversial voice work as the Joker is exceptional and plays up the sadism and lust for violence and chaos. More importantly, though, the tale doesn't feel like it's in the service of the game, having to excuse away set pieces by straining the narrative into the overly nonsensical, something exhibited throughout Arkham City. This compulsive tale is wrapped up in such exquisite production values, including a soundtrack that ably insinuates Hans Zimmer's famous score, that I found myself wanting to see the story play out even longer than its considerable length in the game. The story affords one great aspect of the gameplay: boss battles that utilize your skills from the rest of the game. In particular, Deathstroke and Copperhead, whose fights actually play out like fights you would expect, because they involve fighting. Careful timing and attention to available gadgets are required, and the results are something that feels dramatic and exhilarating as they play out like two preternatural individuals hell-bent on the other's destruction.
I just used his arrogance to my advantage. A textbook move a child could have avoided.
These instances in the game show that boss battles don't have to be a thing of the past. So many games, Arkham Asylum and City included, turn boss battles into visually dramatic displays that only highlight how anemic the interactivity is as you utilize secondary skills or devices. Arkham Origins manages to understand what a boss battle promises in concept and then delivers on it. If I ever want to see something copied by other developers, it's this. As standout as the story and boss battles are, they unfortunately managed to highlight that the core gameplay of Arkham Origins is wanting for invigoration. The elegant combat and stealth sequences are still here, but I was keenly aware that's all that was in the game. There's no bad moment, but with only the sporadic instances of story and distinct gameplay, these innumerable instances collectively became indistinguishable from one another and felt like sluggish interstitials designed to earn your way to the good stuff. It's a shame because the combat and enemy types have undergone small improvements to add challenge. Your gadgets become available much faster, and you have to pay even closer attention in combat than before, which makes the endless stream of encounters exhausting and increasingly tedious. The stealth sequences at times feel more organic by placing Batman in a space not overtly designed for stealth gameplay, giving you the impression that you're going to use the environment in different ways from tradition. But soon that novelty wears off as, per usual, you patiently wait for enemies to open themselves up to a brutal takedown. In the traditional stealth sequences, efforts are made to add additional challenge to keep Batman moving more frequently around the room. But in the end, it's the same core gameplay over and over, and redundancy sets in fast.
You're a young man with a trust fund and too much anger.
This is a strange predicament that the game finds itself in, as in many respects, this is the best of the Arkham titles. But the improvements and what makes it stand out so quickly get subsumed by fresh memories of the previous games. Unfortunately, Arkham is falling into the same trap that other annual and biannual titles encounter. Not enough time to innovate. One starts to see the logic in waiting 7 years for a GTA game because it's hard to miss someone if they won't go away.
Shall I warm up Christmas dinner?
No. It's going to be a long night, Alfred.
The game also offers up numerous side missions that are either collectible quests or slight variants on the core stealth and melee gameplay without the satisfying narrative resolutions of Arkham City. Again, the bulk is carried by Riddler, here named Enigma, which curiously borrow from Ubisoft Montreal's games with communication towers that must be hacked to reveal fast travel points and other collectibles on the map. Seriously, what is up with Montreal and this gameplay device? I'm at the point of assuming Quebec was settled by a bunch of angry cartographers. Arkham Origins also offers up multiplayer from English developer Splash Damage, which sounds great on paper, but suffers greatly in its execution. Three-sided with the Joker Gang, the Bane Gang, and the team of Batman and Robin, the criminals try to wipe each other out by holding waypoints and shooting each other, while the dynamic duo performs stealth takedowns on both to drive up intimidation, which scuttles the enemy team's nefarious intents.
Bane's gang grows in power. Do not underestimate them.
There's great potential here, but the cluttered and very dark levels, coupled with sluggish movement from the gangs and inelegant movement from Batman and Robin, rob the entire proceeding of any pleasure. When this single multiplayer mode did pop with some excitement, it was fleeting and limited, bringing to mind Assassin's Creed's multiplayer that, while playing better, doesn't have enough discoverable elements to maintain lasting player engagement. Arkham Origins is a very well-made and sometimes great game that relies so heavily on what has worked before that it manages to invoke nostalgia from when the franchise felt fresh and exciting. Incredible writing and some standout sequences, along with the satisfying core gameplay, kept me engaged, but constantly dreaming of what could be done to enliven one of the most interesting franchises of this generation. Rest on this laurel no more, Batman. A 4 out of 5. There you have it. Yeah, I'm so torn about this game because I did enjoy playing it, but I can't say it was something that was memorable outside of this incredible writing, which actually is almost worth the price of admission itself. All right, with that, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, Netflix. Netflix lets you stream your favorite movies and TV shows straight into your home, saving you time, money, and the hassle of dealing with a cable company. All you need is an internet connection and a Netflix-enabled device like a computer, smartphone, or video game console. If you're in the mood for superheroes, The Avengers is currently streaming on Netflix in the United States. Titles are subject to availability, but you can get a free trial membership and support Rev3 Games by going to netflix.com/Rev3Games. Batman Arkham Origins is out today. It's PS3, 360, Wii U, and the PC. It occurred to me, this is probably the last current-gen game that I'm going to play. And with that in mind, get ready for next week. You're going to start seeing a lot of next-gen reviews. Assassin's Creed 4, Battlefield 4, and not too far out in the future, Call of Duty Ghosts.